Hi. This video is going to be about page 5 of the Tchaikovsky 1812 Overture for Violin 2. Okay, and it's just this page because I'm breaking it down page by page because it's a really involved piece. And we are going backwards because that's what you guys are requesting and your teacher is doing in class. So I'm working my way back up to page 1. So we did page 6, now we're going to do page 5. Okay, so pause this, grab a pencil, grab a highlighter, grab a color pencil if you want. Take a look at the markings that I've put on here. I know that it's hard to see. I tried to make it as clear as possible, but certainly there are places where there's a lot of ink on the page, like this, for example, that it's very difficult to see what I have written. So I may try to zoom in a little bit if I can. Can I do that? No. Okay, so if I can figure that out, I will try to do that. But I'm going to explain my markings and then I'll do some play. I'll turn the camera around and play a little bit with you too. Okay. So for the sake of this video, we're going to start here. Okay. This part I will do on the page 4 video because that's sort of the end of page 4. So we're going to start here where this new idea starts to happen. Okay. So there are some points where I have a fingering marked. For example, here I have a 2. You can definitely do this in first position. If I have another number in parentheses, that means that you have a choice and that they both could work. So in other words, this one could be done in first position, starting on a second finger. Or if you wanted to, you could start this in third position with your 4th finger on that note. And that would also work. So you can try both of them and see which one feels more comfortable to you. Okay, if I don't really give you a choice, you should probably stick with the one that's given. Now, a lot of times with these pieces you guys have in school, I will try to give you as simple of a fingering as possible to help just make it easier for you. But this is Tchaikovsky, and this is the real Tchaikovsky. So you really can't get around some of the fingerings. You've got to do the real fingering. Now, certainly there are some options you could entertain, but I'm giving you the fingerings that I think are going to work the best once you're going faster, okay? So for example, in this section, I have you shifting in a slightly different place than it's said on your music, and then staying in this position, this 5th position on the A string for a little bit longer and coming down later, and not going too far. So some of those things, when you're doing it fast, it really, really helps. Yeah, you could come down to first position, but personally, I think shifting in smaller increments as you work your way down can sometimes be better when you're moving really, really fast. So you can sort of decide, and certainly if you have a teacher that gives you different fingering, try that. But if it doesn't work, then that's when we do different fingerings that we wouldn't normally do. When we start getting really fast and we keep getting tangled, that means we might need a different fingering. Okay, sometimes we can play something in first position when it's slow, but then as we go faster, we can't. And that's why we do these weird fingerings. Okay, so from the top. T tika t t 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 t. Shh. 2, 3, 1, 2. T tika t t t tika t t t tika t t t tika t t. So that's the basic rhythm in that first section. It is off the string. It bounces there. This is a spiccato sort of a feel. It's quiet. So that's tricky, and you want to start that from the string. So I'll demonstrate that when I turn the camera around. Here we have an A flat. So I've marked a flat 3 for you there. And just remembering the key at this point in the piece, because it does change throughout the piece. But at this point, we have 3 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, and that is tricky. The B flat and the E flat hopefully is not too crazy for you if you're playing this piece. The A flat is probably the one to look out for. That one is a little less common for us. We're not always playing that. And so, whoops, here's one of those notes. This A flat on the E string, that's going to be a flat 3, okay? And the way I find that, you know, let's see if I can do it this way. If we think about where our normal 3 fingers go, those first tapes you ever had, let's say on the E string, we had F sharp, G sharp, and A. And 2 and 3 were half steps, meaning they're buddies, they're touching each other, and there's a whole step between 1 and 2. This is a really comfortable finger pattern for us, okay? And so when we do this key that we're talking about in this piece with the flats, and we need that flat 3, if you actually just slide your hand back a half step. So now my 1 is on F natural, or like a flat 1. My 2 is on G natural, and now my 3 is on A flat, which is also a G sharp. They're the same note. So you're basically putting your 3 where your 2 used to be. So we're going from here to here, okay? And it's easy to find the low 1 and the natural 2. Hopefully that's not too hard to find. Let your 1 and 2 be the guide for this weird flat 3. So I've got my 1 and my 2. I find them first, and then I put 3 right next to it and make sure that these 2 buddies touch. Okay, and then that helps me find it. And the more you do this sort of placing them together, eventually you can just go right there and your fingers don't have any trouble finding it. But, you know, whenever you have a weird note, try to find which fingers are more of your solid fingers that you can find. I can find G natural, so great. It's going to be my guide, and it's going to help my A flat find its place. Okay, so same thing in this section. You have your F natural, and then we go to D flat, then to C. I need a flat 3 again, which isn't part of the key, but it's marked flat. So we have another flat 3 right here on that D flat. So I would do the same thing. So you're playing F natural, and I need to get to D flat. So I would put 2 and 3 down together and sort of lead with my 2 to C natural. C natural is not a crazy note. I can find that. And then I put my 3 right next to it, and that's your D flat. Okay? Now, let's keep going. Some of this I'll just kind of walk you through until I can turn around the camera. Here you have a flat 1, and then it's going to move up to a regular 1, a natural 1, it says. It doesn't actually say that this is flat, it's just part of the key. So E flat is part of the key, so that's an E flat, but then he makes it natural, so your 1 is going to move up. Okay, now coming over here, this is still a spiccato. It's very, very quiet, and that's super hard to do. So we'll talk about that when I flip the camera around the bow part. You could do this in first position, or you could do it in third position. I kind of like, well, I like them both, so try them both. See which one you like. There's a lot of accidentals on this page. Here we have E natural, F sharp, and then we have A natural, and over here some more stuff, right? So in a piece like this, we definitely have to take notice of all these accidentals, these notes that are not part of the key, and attempt them, okay? We just have to at least attempt them, and 95% of the time, if you attempt it, you'll get it. The only time I see that students don't get it at all is when they try to ignore it and just pretend like it's not there and play it the way they would, as if there was no marking at all, and try to play just in the key as it is. It's definitely going to be wrong. So never ignore it. At least attempt it. You'll probably get it. If not all of it, you'll get most of it. If you just stop for a second and say, what is that? That's a E natural. We know what an E natural is. E natural is your regular good old tape where it used to be when you first started playing. So right there we have E, F sharp, G. So that's our normal E, F sharp, G. We're really good with that. So we come from flat fingers, da, da, da. And then we're going to play open D and allow our hand to sort of go home to where our original tapes were way back when. Okay, and then after that you sort of get to release it and do flat fingers again. So, okay, moving on. I didn't mark this, but I'm going to mark it open on this A. It says A natural, and so I'm going to use an open to give my hand a chance to release all these notes and maybe find the next notes a little bit. So when you have fast moving notes, if it's an open string that you can play, you know, it's not an E flat or something. So E flat, you can't play open E. But if it's an A natural or some open string, definitely use it and give your hand a break, because your hand is going to be super, super busy and it's going to be so fast you're never going to hear it. It's not like you're going to do vibrato on that note. So go ahead and use your open to give your hand a break. And that's kind of a rule for any kind of fast passages like this, that it's a passing note that's going by really fast, and an open string, nobody's going to know if it's an open or a 4. So the rule is we do an open or a 4 on what gives us more speed for our bow. So it's about speed and staying on one string. And if it doesn't matter, if it's not going to keep you on one string or not, so in this case, you're going to change string regardless, whether you use a 4 or an open. So, but if you use open, you can release your hand for a second, and that's a good thing. Okay. Sometimes we would use a 4 just to stay on one string, but here it doesn't matter. So use the open. Okay. Moving on. Here we do this in third position. This figure is a lot like this figure. So we start off with some notes that are flat, and then it sort of goes into a more normal key for us. Same thing here. It's A natural, B natural. So we're losing those flats right there. So our fingers kind of get to go back to the original places that we knew when we first were learning third position. Okay, and then we get back to flats. So let's see here. So I'm suggesting that you stay in third all the way to here, which does mean you will have a flat 1 on this note, which is kind of weird. But you just reach back a half step with your 1, and then you can let it go. You just need it for that 1 note. All right, then here we're going to shift down to first position. So here's a good example of 4 and open. For this first E, it is an E natural, which matches your open E string. But if you use a 4, your bow is going to stay on the same string all the way until here. Okay? So it's helpful to keep your bow on one string when you're trying to bounce and bounce fast. And then after this one, we have to go on the E string anyway. So I would use that open and release the hand and go ahead and do a string change, because you got to do it anyhow, unless you want to shift, but that wouldn't be as quick. This is a nasty little section. I put a box around it. You know, there's a few runs here that are definitely tricky. You have to drill these spots. There will be certain places where you're going to get the hang of it pretty quickly. Probably this first one, that's a good example. Sections in here, you're going to get the hang of those pretty quickly. You'll be able to go fast. But stuff like this, that is gnarly, for lack of a better word. That's hairy right there. So, you know, we have to drill this multiple times every time we practice. Find the spots that trip you up all the time, put little boxes around them, and start your practice that way. So say, okay, this spot is difficult for me. This one is difficult, and let's say this is difficult. I'm going to do each spot 8 times before I play the section, right? And just keep doing those spots multiple times. Just start your practice that way. Go directly to the hard spots and drill them, and use a metronome to get faster and faster and faster. So we start slow and we get faster. So I'll demonstrate that. Here we've got a flat 4. The notes that follow in the middle here, I know this is hard to see, but I'm talking about measure 321 into 322. The notes in the middle are chromatic. So we have F natural, G flat, G, and A flat. Okay, so those are chromatic. We can't use a full chromatic fingering. We are going to slide 2-2. So it's going to be flat 4, 2, and then your 2 is going to go from F natural to G flat, which is also F sharp. So basically F natural to F sharp. Your second finger is going to move that way. So it looks like this. F natural, F sharp. We can totally do that, right? And then you've got G and A flat. So those touch each other. So F natural, G flat, G, A flat. And they all touch each other because that's chromatic. Now, then we move on to, after the A flat, we have D flat. But I've written here that you should do this with a sharp 2 and treat it like a C sharp, because D flat is also C sharp. So in this case, I find that playing it like a C sharp is easier for my hand than trying to do that with a flat 3. So just play it with a sharp 2. And then we have F natural and G flat, which is also F sharp. You can either do 1, 1, or you could also do 1, 2. And I wrote that in there. Okay, so we have D flat, F, G flat, G, A flat. Oops, sorry. F natural, G flat, G, A flat, D flat, which looks like C sharp, F natural, and G flat, or F sharp, okay, which you could also put your 2 down if you prefer. Okay? That's a tough little spot, so I'll demonstrate that. This one is pretty straightforward. You're in first position. Over here, now this one is probably a hard one. I would recommend to do this in third, and the reason is really it's for this section here. Okay, we're trying to come from a really high note over to the D string, and so if you're in third position, there's only one string to change, rather than trying to go from the E string to the D string very quickly, and bouncing. So because we're still bouncing. Once we get to here, we can stop the bouncing, but for now we're still bouncing. So this keeps this on 2 string. No, it's 3 strings, but it keeps them closer together. So starting in third position, this is an E flat, so it's a flat 3. We would have a little chromatic fingering here again, and let me write this in. So your 2 is going to slide up again. So we have G, A flat, A. So the A flat and A is going to be 2, and your 2 slides up, and then B flat. So it would look like this. There's my G, A flat, A, B flat. G, A flat, A, B flat. Okay? And that's just a little piece of that. It's not the whole thing. It's difficult to do on camera like that. Okay, when we get to here, this is pretty gnarly. So what I'm recommending is that you're in third position here, and then we're going to slide down to second position. It's just a half step. So your 1 is going to be, so measure 324. Your second finger is playing the A flat. We're in third position. So wait. You've got A flat, and then your 1 is on G flat, which is also F sharp. Okay, so that feels a little strange. And then you're going to slide back to F natural with your first finger. Now I'm in second position, and I'm playing the notes after that in second position. Then you shift up to third position. Okay. Now I'm in third position, and I'm going to come down to first position and be in first position. Okay, so right here you're sliding back into second position. So we can reach this. It works when you play it. I'll demonstrate it in a second. Then we go up to third, and we're going to come down to first position here. So I like it. Give it a try. It may seem strange to you, but this is Tchaikovsky. You're definitely going to get some fingerings you've never done before. So first position all the way from N. We're going to keep in first position until here. I'm recommending that you go to second position. Okay, and it's easy to slide into it right here. Your 1 is playing B flat right here in first position, and you're just going to slide up to C and just stay in second position until here. Then you're going to have to go up to 5th position. So your 2 is going to move up to this D, and then you're going to stay in 5th position. So hold on a second. So this whole section is in 5th position. Okay, so you've got your 2, flat 3, 4, 3, 2 that just walks up, da 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 da, comes right back down. Then these notes that follow, if you just stay in 5th position and play these on the A string, they're in the same place, just 1 string over that you played all these notes. And then sliding down to 3rd position here for your shift. Then you can stay in 3rd position for a while, okay? So it looks like this. Let's see. If I come up to 5th position, which is, my 2 is just past this part of the neck that meets, or this, the body of the instrument meets the neck right here. And then I know that my D is just past that, okay? So the notes look like this up there. You have D, E flat, F, E flat. Okay, so 2 and 3 are touching, and then 4 is a whole step, which is smaller up there. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2 is what those notes are doing up there. And then we have 2, 3, 2, 1. So the notes there on the A string are in the same place that you're already in on the E string. You're just going to walk over to the next string. If we were down here, you'd have no problem doing that. It just confuses us when we're up here. We think that's crazy, but it's something we actually do all the time. So 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. We stay there. And then we're going to shift down to 3rd position. Okay, and stay in 3rd position for a while. I hope that that is helpful and you can see that. Okay, then we're in 3rd position for a while and you can just stay there. Then we start doing this sort of crawling back sort of a thing. So here we're in 3rd position and we're going to go 2, 2. So, if this is confusing for you, this is a really advanced piece. So hopefully you can follow this. You may have to pause this and break it down and look at what I'm talking about to understand, and that's okay. It's taken me time to figure out these fingerings. So if you're not catching this on the first listen, just listen to a little spot and then pause it and try to figure out what it is that I'm saying, and then keep going on to the next section. But this is a little bit tricky right here. So we're going from 3rd position to 2nd position. So I'm going to slide my 2 from the A flat to the G, because this A flat in 3rd position would be your 2nd finger, and then you're going to slide it back to G. So it's just a half step, and now I'm in 2nd position, and I'm going to continue. What that does is it allows us to be all on one string, all without any string change, which is going to work out for us. Then starting here, I'm going to slide back from 2nd position to 1st position, 3, 3. Now I'm in 1st position. That feels really good. Then here, I'm going to go right before the 3, 4. I'm going to use open D and then put my 2nd finger on this C and slip into 2nd position. Now, this is super important because once we get to the 3, 4, yeah, we're playing the same idea with these 4 descending notes. Da 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 da. That continues here, but it turns them into triplets. All along here, they've been doubles. Da 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 da, double, 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 double. And then triplet, 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 triplet. It keeps going, but triples, and that is hard. And it's more difficult for the bow than it is the fingers. So if we can keep our fingers all on one string, it's going to be easier for the bow because it is ridiculously fast. Okay, so we have this needs to be in 2nd position. So I'm slipping into 2nd position just before that. I'm going to use open D, and then I'm going to put my 2 on that note before. Now I'm there. Okay, so I have 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is weird, but I need this to be on one string also. So I'm going up on the D string. That's what that says. And I'm using a harmonic D on the D string, way up high. And now it's a whole step for all of these. So that's a little strange. 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. All in 4th position on the D string. That seems weird, but I find it by just reaching for the harmonic right there. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that when I play. Once you find it, it's very fast to do all those. And then we start doing this crawling back thing like we did up here. So we're in 4th position, then we crawl back to 3rd position for this group of notes, and then when it changes, we're going to crawl back to 2nd position, and when the grouping changes again, we're going to crawl back to 1st position, and then we get to the end. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to pause it there, and then I'll flip the camera around and play through some of those things for you. Okay?